Hello guys and gals, and welcome to another episode of Rune Words. Today we're going to be talking about the Rune Word Lawbringer. Lawbringer is a very interesting rune word, and it is definitely something with some sort of niche uses, and we'll have to take a look at it together. So first we're going to go over to the website, and we're going to take a look at the variations on this rune word, and we're over here on the wiki page, the Diablo 2 wiki page. And we have Lawbringer, which is AmnLemKo. So the most expensive rune in that rune word is the Lem rune. The Ko is moderately difficult to find for a lower level character, but once you're a higher level character, you will usually have quite a few Ko runes laying around. So AmnLemKo is a fairly cheap recipe. Now granted, if you have a Lem rune, you might rather want to put that into a treachery. So keep that in mind. It's definitely not something you would want to make before you get the other items that you would be using your Lem runes for. Now, if we go down and take a look at the statistics on this item, you'll see that it is a 20% chance to cast level 15 Decrepify on striking. And we don't need to go look at Decrepify because basically when it comes to Decrepify, there is no increase in what Decrepify does, the actual level variation of Decrepify. But we're still going to look at it anyway because I want to remind everyone the effects of Decrepify and not necessarily the level 15 Decrepify skill. So when you look at Decrepify, you want to see that what it does is it amplifies the damage of the monster by 50%. So it reduces the physical resistance of the monster by 50%. It weakens the monster, which it means it reduces the amount of damage that they deal out. And this is very interesting because you're dealing multiple different effects. I mean, you literally will reduce their speed, as you can see right here, a crippling effect that halves enemy units' speed, damage, and physical resistance. So you get a 50% reduction in your physical resistance, a 50% reduction in the amount of damage that you put out, and you also get a 50% reduction in the speed of your character, which is slows target by. So it effectively works like slows target by 50%. And the only thing that levels up with Decrepify is the duration. So when you look at Decrepify, Decrepify's duration goes up. So at level 15, which is what is on the weapon, we're looking at a 12.4 second duration. And this can be reduced by a myriad of things like Fade. I believe Cleansing also affects curses. And I think certain monsters have some kind of negative curse on them. Because I've seen before where a curse doesn't last the correct duration. But 12.4 seconds is all right. Next, we have another interesting ability on here, which is level 16 to level 18 Sanctuary. Now, Sanctuary is an aura that the Paladin has, and it is one that is not generally sought after because it only does damage to one particular type of monster, which is undead monsters. And at level 15, what is it exactly? It's 18 is the maximum. So at level 18, we are looking at a 14.6 yard radius, magic damage of 78 to 96, so not very high. And we also have a damage to percent to melee attacks versus undead. So if you're using this, you get a bonus damage to your melee attacks versus undead of 660%, which is kind of nice, I guess. But the problem with Sanctuary is that it's only really undead, and so anything that is a demon or is not undead or not a demon, you're not going to get any benefit whatsoever from this skill. The other interesting thing about Sanctuary is that it does knock back the target. So when you use Sanctuary, when you're actually in the process of using it, you get a knockback effect against the undead, which is very interesting. And that knockback effect can actually work to your advantage if you're in a place with a massive number of undead, like, for instance, the tombs in Act 2. So let's go back to Sanctuary, and we have some more effects on the rune word. So we also have the 20%. So we got the 20% chance to cast Decrepify. It's level 16 to 18 Sanctuary. We also have negative 50% target's defense, which is very nice. That is a huge bonus to attack rating, basically. We also have the adds 150 to 210 fire damage, adds 130 to 280 cold damage, 7% lifesteal, slain monsters rest in peace. So as you can see, this weapon is really made for someone who doesn't want monsters to get back up again. You would probably not want to use this on a necromancer because you would want those corpses, and you would definitely not want to use this on a horker barbarian that uses find item on corpses because you wouldn't be able to use find item. And the slain monsters rest in peace is a very useful mechanic for some characters, but it is also a very detrimental mechanic for others. So you do have to be careful about who you use this particular effect on, and also keep in mind that if you're using this effect in a group setting and there are necromancers around or barbarians who are trying to hoard corpses, or maybe another paladin who's trying to use redemption on monsters, they're not going to be very happy with you using slain monsters rest in peace on all the monsters because they won't be able to resurrect anything. We also have 200 to 250 defense versus missile, which is hardly anything important. Plus 10 to dexterity, which is nice for helping out your attack rating and your block chance, as well as add a little bit of defense. And then 75% extra gold from monsters. So this weapon is very interesting because it doesn't have any bonus to attack damage. Most rune words, they have enhanced damage on them, and Lawbringer does not. Which means that this weapon tends to be really, really poor as far as physical damage is concerned, so you're not really even swinging it. So who would actually use this then? Well, the answer is probably a mercenary if you were going to use an Act 3 mercenary or an Act 5 mercenary. You could also theoretically use this on a sorceress or a caster type, just simply so you have massive amounts of sanctuary aura. The level 15 Decrepify, though, makes it seem like you might want to use this on an Act 5 Barbarian and combine him with maybe a highly physical damage character. And if you combine him with the highly physical damage character, you might get a pretty good use out of Decrepify, increasing the amount of of overall damage that you do, because a 50% bonus to all your damage, or rather a 50% reduction in the physical resistance of all the monsters you're fighting, is going to be pretty massive as far as a physical damage character is concerned, like a barbarian or a fury druid or maybe a zeal paladin. It's very interesting though, because a lot of the effects on this would make you think it would be used by a melee character, like the fire damage, the cold damage, the lifesteal, but I just can't really see using a non-enhanced damage weapon on a melee character. It only does 35 to 40 damage, and it's not really that high. Let's go back over to the game now, and we're going to play around with this sword and see what we can do with it. So first thing we're going to do is bring this over to a real character so that we can actually put it on him and run around with Sanctuary. Now, in normal difficulty, the Sanctuary Blade actually works very similarly to Holy Shock, Holy Fire, and Holy Freeze. Believe it or not, you can actually use the Sanctuary Aura in much the same way to kill monsters. In fact, you know what? Let me go show you that real quick, just for lulz. I'm going to show you how powerful Sanctuary is versus lower level monsters. And to show you that, I've got to go to normal difficulty. So if you go somewhere, like for instance Act 2 Tombs in Canyon of the Magi, and you walk around with a level 18 Sanctuary, it's going to be pretty deadly to any undead that you encounter. And as you can imagine, there's a lot of undead in the tombs, and if you were farming specifically somewhere that had a lot of undead, I could see running a Sanctuary Aura just for the extra effect. And you'll notice that as I run around, any undead monsters just are immediately killed. And if they're not immediately killed in normal difficulty, they are they are very, very wounded. And this could be something fun just to run around and farm normal difficulty with. Perhaps you're a really high, magic find character, and you don't even want to have to bother to attack things, and you're looking for a Gull Dagger or a Lenimo Sash or something, and you'd like to just run around and farm things almost like automatically for you. Sanctuary could do that. The same thing applies to Holy Freeze, Holy Shock, and Holy Fire, though, because when you level those up really high, they also have a very high damage aura, and as you walk around, they'll kill everything and not just undead monsters. As you can see, it doesn't work on the Gorebellies. The Gorebellies are demons, so it has absolutely no effect on them at all. And Well, let's go to hell difficulty, and I want to show you how it works in a more dangerous situation. And it's not going to apply massive amounts of damage. However, the knockback effect is interesting, and it can serve to assist you in survival. And we're going to go ahead and just run into one of these tombs, because most of the monsters out in the actual canyon are not undead. I don't want to get caught by them. Alright, so inside the tombs, we've got a bunch of monsters here, and as you can see, I want to say about every, like, what is that, like, 1,000, 1,000, about 2, maybe 2.5 seconds, it knocks them back. If the monster is fast enough, they're going to reach you, regardless. But as you can see, it's a constant knockback effect on the undead, just over and over and over again. And this could maybe be useful against bone fetishes, even, to protect you against their explosion, because it's going to be constantly knocking them away from you. And as you can see, it's not just a knockback. Like, there is a brief period of time where the monster actually stops, so it will give you a chance to kite them easier. You know, just being able to kite these monsters is interesting. Now, I don't see a main character ever using this, but I could totally see, like, for instance, I'm running an Act 3 mercenary on my paladin, and, you know, it would be funny to make a lawbreaker and just put it on him, on my mercenary, just so that my mercenary would have a sanctuary, or, while we were inside of, like, you know, the tombs. Chaos Sanctuary is actually full of undead, so I could definitely see it being semi-useful there. And, not so much the Slain Monsters Rest in Peace, though. As interesting of an ability as Slain Monsters Rest in Peace is, the fact that it completely prevents me from being able to resurrect any of those corpses and use them to my advantage is something that I don't like on a lot of characters. For instance, my Barbarian that does item finding, my Necromancer that summons back the undead into corpses and things like that. Those are characters that I would not like to have my corpses taken away from. And it's interesting. Now the Decrepify effect is also interesting, and I think that's worth some exploration as well. Decrepify has a rather short duration, but the effect is a 20% chance to cast. So you should see it theoretically all the time at 20%. And let's just grab a couple monsters here and see if we can get it to proc, shall we? I'm not even sure if I can hit these guys. And there we go. Decrepify has now procced on all the monsters nearby. And you can see they are much slower. They're having trouble keeping up with me. You know, and you know what's funny is if you combine Decrepify with the Sanctuary, Decrepify is slowing them down, and Sanctuary is constantly knocking them back, right? So it would almost be like they could never get to you if you had both effects up. So very interesting. And the fact that this can only be made in swords, hammers, and scepters is also interesting. I feel like they're almost telling you to put it in a scepter for a paladin, but at the same time, you know, like, no, probably wouldn't. Swords seems like the only viable option here, just simply because you'd put it on a merc. So I think the main reason why anyone would ever make this rune word, honestly, is number one, the Decrepify word, and number two, the Slain Monsters Rest in Peace, which could come in very handy if you were farming Neolithak, for instance. Neolithak would definitely be nice to have Slain Monsters Rest in Peace on, and my mercenary is actually often getting me killed on Neolithak, because as soon as he kills a monster, Neolithak corpse explodes it, and then I die, and everybody cries. So a very interesting rune word all around, and it's hard to get an actual beat on this. I feel like this is more of a fun rune word. That's what I feel like. There are rune words in the game which people will use and work into builds, and then there are rune words like this where it's not necessarily the optimal rune word for anything, but it definitely could be fun to keep around and use when you know, come across a massive amount of undead monsters. And the Decrepify is probably the most interesting thing here, because a 20% chance to cast Decrepify is just a pretty amazing amount. I mean, people look at the unique item Reaper's Toll, and they all want an Ethereal Reaper's Toll, specifically because it has the Decrepify effect, and putting it on an Act 2 Mercenary gives you the amazing Decrepify effect. But the lack of damage on this makes it seem like you just really wouldn't want to use this on anything. And of course, the Decrepify is only going to affect on striking, so unless you actually have the Act 5 Merc attacking, it's not going to work. But, you know, the complete lack of damage makes it so the Act 5 Mercenary is probably going to be absolutely useless while he's spamming Decrepify. I don't know. It's such an odd word. Anyway, as always, I do appreciate you guys and gals watching these videos, and as always, keep watching.